Hello everyone and welcome to a very special session of Winds of Earrenia, our ongoing D&D campaign here on Bold Wolf Gaming. As we approach the end of our campaign, we have one last lighthearted roleplay-filled night for you before we head into the final chapters of our story. We are going to be releasing this one as close to Valentine's Day as possible. We're already past it, but we'll try to release it in February. Of course, that means if you're watching this close to the release, the next episode probably won't be until April for you. But thank you for joining us. Let's go ahead and jump into tonight's game.
Out of curiosity, can we release it on April Fool's Day?
Possible. Possible.
I don't know if that would make sense thematically, but...
No. What if we actually, joke, like an April Fool's Day thing? Like, we actually... I don't know what I'm trying to do here.
We'll have to work out the details on that.
Yeah.
Alright, let's go ahead and get some music going in here, because it's super quiet. Hold on, I'm hearing double here.
Still can't believe I lost most of my music.
Alright, so when we last left off, the Regulators killed the Emperor of Earrenia, or defeated his demonic form, after which his sister came in and murdered him in the most painful, brutal way possible, and then wandered off like nothing happened.
That's really a concern still.
And you are, of course, still in the Imperial City. Now, get the calendar up here. Alright, so, as I said, let's go ahead and fast forward to the next day. Your presence in the city is no longer required, but if you have anything you want to do in the Imperial City before you guys head back, you are more than welcome.
I don't think there's anything we would want to do unless you guys want to explore before we go.
I know Malcolm had talked about going to the funeral for Belle.
Right.
But I'm not sure if you still want to do that.
I saw the husband before I left, if I remember correctly, right? Did I talk to the husband or just leave a note? I left a note.
She wrote a note for and had it on her when he discovered her. I think you stuck around long enough to make sure that he was the one that went in and found her, but aside from that, you hadn't actually spoken to him.
So he probably doesn't know what I look like or anything?
Correct.
Okay. I was going to say I would disguise myself if need be, but it doesn't sound like I need to.
Alright, so let's see, that happened, if I recall correctly, on the 56th of the month, and it is now the 58th, so the funeral would be going on most likely today. Is there anything you do in particular before you go, or you simply find out when it is and just make sure you're in attendance?
Yeah, that's all I would be interested in, would just be making sure I just attended.
Right. With the money that you left behind with her to make sure her family is taken care of, she is her family is actually able to afford a decent funeral. You keep your ear out about town and get wind of when and where the ceremony is going to be. The funeral itself is held in a decent-sized temple of Nulula within the city, and just a little bit outside of the district that she actually lived in. Not designed for the capacity of the people who came to see her off. When you arrive at the temple, there are people. It's spilling out the doors. You're able to get up to the doors and see over the crowd of people and catch a bit of the ceremony. What you're able to hear from that distance. The sea of people is parted as the casket is carried down the aisle and out the front door of the temple, and then it makes its way down the street, followed by just a wave of people of various species from all over the district that she lived. You follow the mourners to an inner city cemetery. And she is placed into the ground. There is another brief ceremony and a reading over the grave. And of course, I don't know if you brought any of the others with you, but standing on...
I would have let them know and left it up to their, own discretion if they wanted to come or not.
I kind of want to see like where he was going, so I decided to follow along with him.
I followed Mira.
Mainly because I'm a nosy bitch.
As you're watching this ceremony at the cemetery, Malcolm, you do catch a glimpse of the husband and the children. From what you're able to gather, it looks like when he read the letter, he took the message to heart and is dealing with the reality this time around, as he was unable to last time. Mira and Echo, the cawing, very loud cawing of a raven perched up on the side of one of the buildings overlooking the cemetery catches your attention. Malcolm, of course, as you look over, you see a humanoid female standing in the spot where that raven is for the rest of them. And as the family gathers the first scoops of dirt and tosses them down onto the casket, Echo and Mira, you see the raven swoop down to the side of the grave. Malcolm, you see that humanoid figure float along the same path, reach down and touch, almost reaching through the casket for a brief moment, pulling out what seems to be a ball of radiant energy.
Wait, so her soul was still with her? I thought by him...
It varies when exactly the soul is collected. In this case,
okay.
As you saw when you were at the fort in the mountains, the soul was not taken from the fallen soldiers until their cremation process began.
That's right. Okay, thank you. I'm very sorry for the
Sometimes
interruption.
it's a bit quicker, but so you watch her scoop up that ball of light. She gives you a nod, of course, acknowledging your presence, Malcolm. The rest of you watch as this raven flies off into the sky. And as that... What's the matter?
I took a sip of that, and for some reason when I inhaled to take a sip, I could taste tobacco.
That is weird. I'm not sure what you're...
It's really weird, Matt.
As the raven flies away, you feel a sense of peace radiate over the crowd. Though they don't understand it, the passing on of the soul gives closure for all those in attendance. And after the family has put their scoops of dirt onto the casket, the rest of the neighborhood does so in turn. By the time that all of them have taken their turn, there's almost nothing left to be shoveled in. And people are dismissed. The crowd gradually goes away, and you see the husband having a conversation with his children for a brief moment. I don't know how long you stick around, but eventually they make their way back home. That all you wanted to do?
That's all I could think of. Anything else you guys can think of that you'd like to do in the town?
That's pretty much all I can think of. I
You
do
wanna
ask
start an adventure
Malcolm.
museum here, Jake?
Say what?
I do ask Malcolm,
Let's
you know,
start a
like
branch museum.
why he attended, because you know, general curiosity.
Well, this was the first time I've had to do or deal with some of my new powers after finding the Reaper's Hand. And I also had some concerns that the husband might try to reanimate her again.
Is
with
there
the
any
gold
way?
for him.
Do you want to try and keep an eye on him before we go?
I don't think he'd be able to reanimate her again.
So it was a one-time deal.
Yeah, or maybe not reanimate. I can't remember exactly what the circumstances were. Her life was prolonged, longer than natural, one way or another. Whether it was through reanimation or, not dying in some way, shape, or form. But her soul has been collected this time, so I don't think there's a danger of that anymore.
Right. At this point, any further attempts at reanimation would be basically
Necromancy.
zombifying.
Yeah.
But either way, you got the sense from him that
He's accepted it too. As well.
he got his closure this time. Last time her death was somewhat sudden. This time he got to spend a few more days with her, and he got that letter. So it looks like he is convinced not to try anything again and accepts
Good.
how things
But
are.
until I had, until I saw that, I wasn't completely, I wasn't sure I wanted to leave quite yet until I saw her funeral. But I think I'm ready now.
I know I need to
is he
get armor
breaking up
made.
for anybody else?
Sorry, what was that?
Is he breaking up for anybody else?
No? Come through
No.
there for me. And I'm sorry,
Then
go ahead, Echo.
they might be going back.
I know I need to get armor made at some point, but I think I can do that where we're going.
Oh, yes, absolutely. You've got over a month in Anexa, I assume you guys will be returning to.
Okay.
And you also have the ability to pop over to Paulhaus if you want to shop around for how you want to do it. But, you guys got plenty of time. So, at any time you guys choose, you can...
Charge these up. I think my headphones are going bad.
Alright, that's good news.
So we might need to replace them this year. But that's not a worry. I want to get that house first.
If you need a pair of Bluetooth earbuds, I have an extra pair I just replaced with a better quality that I can give you.
Okay.
So,
That'd be great. I've had those headphones for about, what, a year, Matt?
Yep.
Or is it almost 2?
It might be closer to 2, I'm not sure.
yeah, next time I'm in town, I'll drop them off to you.
Alright, we'll have to do that later because I can't find a charger.
That's okay. It's fine.
Alright.
Sounds good, Ryan. Thank you.
You're welcome.
At your leisure, you guys can return to... I assume you are returning to Anexa?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think that's where Arget and everybody else is. So yeah.
Alright, so right off the bat, over the course of the next week, First day of Summerin, we are heading into... We are into spring and heading rapidly towards summer. Bank check, if you guys stop by the local branch of your bank, you'll find royalties for a total of 1,500 gold pieces.
Wow.
For commissions on your ships.
Let me put that in my notes real quick here.
And on
Which I promise I might finish those notes before the end of
have the ledger done right as you can. And the second day of the month, Arget reaches 8 months pregnant.
And everything's going smoothly as like baby's doing okay.
Yep, everything seems to be running smoothly. Arget is more energetic and mobile than you would expect for a woman who's 8 months pregnant, but she seems to refuse to
She's nesting.
slow down.
She's nesting.
So I'm just gonna throw out there right
Oh
now.
my god, I
Because
remember
we
those
are
bursts
nearing-
of energy.
Because we're nearing the end of our campaign, we have close to 9,000 gold pieces in the bank. If anybody
Sorry,
needs to
what?
buy anything.
You guys are independently wealthy at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god, can we get like do we have a keep? We should have a keep. We should get a keep.
You know what I want
I
to
mean,
do?
I'm sure we probably could build a castle somewhere.
Mhm.
I want to experiment with things that can explode.
Oh, that reminds me. Your hover bike. Are you wanting to finish that?
Yes.
All right. So,
I'm sure we will find any way to make that to exploit that hover bike before the end of the campaign, Matt.
Yeah.
yeah. I just realized we're coming up and we just haven't discussed it in a while. I know you got parts of it built, but I do not remember exactly what you selected. So we're gonna go ahead and just do it right from here. Did you want the...
I think we went with the metal frame.
Okay, so metal frame. And did
We
you...
went to get the blacksmiths. I think we went to blacksmiths with plans, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, we did.
Alright, and did you want the high altitude option?
I mean, yeah.
What was the con to that?
All I can picture is us flying into Serenity, dropping down the hatch, and Jake flying out the fucking hatch.
There wasn't really... It was just an extra expense. So, alright. So you chose the metal frame. That means it goes a little bit... It takes a little longer to hit top speed. And it's...
But it's more durable.
But it's more durable. And of course, taking longer to hit top speed means it's going to take longer to hit the speed that you need to fly above hover speed. Or flight level. Altitude. That's the word I was looking for.
So maybe not fly out of the back of the Serenity, because you probably won't hit speed to...
Oh, if it's launched at speed, if Serenity is already going the speed that he needs to do high altitude flight. Well, what I'm saying...
If we want to be technical and scientific, if the bike is on the Serenity, it's in an inertial frame of reference, so it would actually be traveling at a speed of 0 miles per hour when he goes out of the back of it. So,
but he would have the lift speed required, the airspeed required when he got launched out too. Is the way I was thinking of it. But So yeah, so you're going with the high altitude option. That part I believe you did not take care of beforehand, so it's an extra 250 gold pieces in materials. But the metal frame should be, I believe you already ordered, so those are already done. It'll take 2 weeks, roughly, to put all the pieces together.
Okay.
And I'm charging time, so by the time you guys go back out, the bike should be ready.
Do you want me to take the 250 gold out of the bank fund, Jake?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, so Zuko, if you could write these notes down for yourself. Your bike has an AC of 19, 160 hit points, and a top speed of 70 miles per hour.
That's pretty fucking fast.
Yeah, well, the wood frame one has top speed of 90. So
Yeah, well,
but 70 is still pretty damn good, especially for medieval era.
I was gonna say, for this era, that's fucking fast. Like,
Oh my gosh! So I can imagine the first time you take it out for a test flight, you shit your pants.
we should take this money and build a racetrack and create pod racing. These motorbikes.
I'll allow it. If you want to put together a couple more of these bikes.
Now this is pod racing.
You just freaking invented that.
Create some more of these bikes. Keep the patent, essentially, so that only you guys can make them. Sell them to basically daredevils and build this racetrack, and yeah, you got yourself a sport. Do you guys want to work on that over the next month?
yes.
Okay, so let's well, this is fun. This is the kind of stuff I was hoping we would see during this session.
So the world is off of the sport we created.
I was gonna say, once you said like 70 miles per hour and then 90 miles per hour, I'm like, man, for these guys, this is fast. So we could set up a freaking racetrack.
Yep. All right. So, so you'll have some discussions with Clambach about acquiring the land necessary.
Why does it feel like Clambach would be like, I'll try this?
Ooh, heck, you set it up so the racetrack actually goes through the city, so basically like close down the streets when there's events. So part of it goes through the city and then into the woods and around the back. Have multiple spectator areas. The main, the start-finish line could be set up so there's like a giant crystal ball so they can see what's going on when the racers are out of.
Yeah, I was gonna
Where
say
the silver lions are at that we're gonna steal.
that's a different city, I think.
Yeah, that's in
Whatever.
But no, like I wasn't sure if there was some maybe some kind of arcane crystal, like you said, the crystal ball, where people could cast a scrying spell and people could see what they're what they're scrying as they're going around the track.
There you go. Sorry, I'm looking for one of the cost charts to give you an idea of how much funding it's going to require to create the permanent parts of the racetrack.
Yeah, I'm thinking the start/finish line would be outside of the city, and we would need like spectator stands and stuff there. And make sure there's no Tusken Raiders anywhere on the track to shoot them.
Oh, come on, that just adds to it.
Alright, I should probably just use the table of contents instead of blindly scrolling through this. 6.
Sorry, Sierra and Mira. Hijack.
I'm sorry, what? Why are you
I
apologizing?
said sorry to hijack the session here for us to create.
Oh, that's fine.
NASCAR.
No, that's okay. I just like dissociated for a good few minutes. You're good.
Not really NASCAR. This would be more like what? Rally racing, probably.
Yeah, kind of.
Maybe have part of the track go down through like a small river with a ford or something, so water splashes up while they're going through it.
Nice. Yep. Love it. All right. So between permanent structures, get something to write this down with. And of course, when you bring this up to Clambuck, he's very excited about the whole concept and wants to invest for a portion of the proceeds, of course.
Of course.
And if over time you guys can build more tracks in different areas, so this can be a touring kind of thing.
Yeah, we'll go talk to the Earl next, or King next.
All right. So, how many bikes do you want to make to get this idea off the ground?
Off the ground? What do you think? Is it go like six bikes?
No, I'm thinking like 15 to 20.
All right,
That's gonna be a lot of money.
Are we okay? Now, are you guys going to be selling the base model? Of course, isn't going to need high altitude.
Yeah.
Are you going? It's not going to technically going to need to be as durable, although it's going to be super high risk activity. Wrecks are going to have to be taken into consideration, but it's up to you if you want to sell this. As the wood frame is the best you can do. Because metal frame is 800 gold pieces in materials. Wood frame is 150.
I'd say we use wood frames and just say, hey, this is like a base model.
And if once the racers get into it, you can sell them on an upgrade.
Well, once the racers get into it, we could also probably get corporate sponsors to chip in.
That's true. Just start a business in of itself making these bikes. Yeah. All right, so 150 gold piece for the wood frame bikes that do 90.
So that's just 150 period.
Yeah, 150 per bike. Takes a total of 80 man hours to build them. I'd say, depending on the quantity you want to do, we can find out how much it would cost you to hire somebody to, assembly line this.
So if we did 15 of them, Zuko, that'd be 2250 gold. That would leave
2,250.
Yeah, that would leave us 6,000 in the bank.
All right, so
I'd say let's start with that. Yeah.
All right, so how many bikes was that? 15 bikes.
16.
16 bikes.
Yeah,
All right,
no,
16.
15. 1-5.
Oh, 1-5.
1-5. Yeah.
All right, so 2,500 for the permanent structures and the trailblazing, essentially, for this first track.
So 2,500, you said?
Yep, 2,250 for 15 bikes in materials. So let's see, 80 hours.
So I'm going to bring it up to Clambach that if we pay to get the bikes and assemble them and work on getting riders, if he covers the cost of the structures and the path, we'll have a 30-30-30 stake.
All right. And let's see, 15 bikes times 80 hours. That's 1,200 man hours. Let's see. Business, maintenance costs. I know there's a chart in here for labor.
Now, wait a second. Weren't we gonna have the bike be for our army?
That was something you talked about doing at some point, by making a bunch of them for the knights. However, the knights also at this point are, now that Palhas is a country, are fully legitimate and they have their own funding. So they could begin, if you give the designs, they can begin working, building them themselves. Okay. I can't find it in the book, so I will find it online.
The default cost for hiring a common laborer is 2 silver pieces per day.
Okay, does it have multiple levels to that? Because this would be...
That's an unskilled laborer.
Right, what's
the
skilled?
Default, 2 gold pieces per day.
Okay, and let's see, 2 gold pieces per day. 1,000 divided by 8 equals... It's 150 man hours a day. You said 2 gold?
Yeah. So 300 gold pieces?
Yep. Essentially, it's up to you if you split that up among more people to get them done faster, or... but yeah, basically 300 in labor costs is what...
Oh, that's nothing.
Sounds good. Alright. I feel so lucky. At least you guys didn't end up, like, getting heavily involved in the cheese economy.
The what?
It's a running joke that everybody ends up running a game, their players get distracted getting into the cheese business or something absurd like that. Something mundane. But there you go.
5,700 gold in the bank still in case Mira and or Sierra need to purchase anything.
I have 6,000 gold on me still.
Yeah, so I think you're good.
Echo doesn't really know how to use money still.
Well, you need armor, so why don't you?
Yeah, that is true. I mean, yeah, I think Echo's learning the concept of money, has learned the concept of money, but at first she didn't quite understand it, so she still has a lot of gold.
Sounds like you should probably be the armorer in town, but take Mira with you so you don't get taken advantage of.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, so you just need 1,000 gold pieces?
Oh yeah.
That makes sense. That seems perfectly reasonable for a piece of armor. Alright, so you currently...
You can also go to Alhi's too, because they might have some magic armor.
True.
And he has a tent here in Anexa as well, so you don't even have to go to Paul House. Are you looking to go see if there's some magic armor?
Yes.
Alright. Let's see. Alright, you head over. Alhi is not currently at this location. It's his brother. Please don't ask his name, because I do not remember it, and it is already canon.
And I was gonna be so polite and be like, hey,
Actually,
what's your name?
Let's see if it's written in my notes for the settlement.
Is it Al? Is it Al? Alhi?
Shopkeep.
Hello, my dude.
What's up, my guy?
What's up, my guy? Turns out that's actually his name, my guy.
What's up, my guy? Not Al High.
It's pronounced Mikey.
Maggie?
You gotta be kidding me.
I'm sorry, I'm from the Fey realm. In the Fey realm, they pronounce it my guy. Sorry, different pronunciations.
Armor
his
of
name-
human wisdom.
His name is Hani.
Oh, honey, I'm home.
Honey, I shrunk the kids.
Honey, I lost the kids.
Alright, let's see. So you're looking for magic armor. You're currently wearing
Honey, I
studded
shrunk
leather.
myself.
Armor of human wisdom. It gives you knowledge of everything that humankind does, so you're not dumb anymore about human things.
It's sentient. It's sentient armor, and anytime it senses that she doesn't understand a humanism, it
It like
whispers
cocks
the
her head. It's like
it's like. See, the joke here is
That'd be great.
This is a pun. It's meant to be pejorative of. I have a sentient bow in my other campaign.
Just wear the armor all the time when you go shopping. It's just like, yeah, you should probably use that money.
The sentient bow I have is it has the spirit of an elf in it that hates orcs, and I'm a half orc, so that's always a fun. Always a fun time. He's like, "Are you really that stupid?" I'm like, "Shut up, dude." But that character is really that stupid. He has a negative 1 intelligence modifier.
Oh, by the way, are you sending her with the magnifying glass?
Yes.
I'll probably go with her. I always like
You're
looking for
shopping.
magical shit.
Yeah, you're telling me you're shopping, so I'll toss the magnifying glass to you guys before you go.
Alright, so there are several options in the armor and clothing category. There are several cloaks. Where'd it go? Alright, there is one called the Cloak of Displacement. While you wear the cloak, it projects an illusion that makes you appear to be standing in a place near your actual location, causing any creature to have disadvantage on attack rolls against you. If you take damage, the property ceases to function until the start of your next turn.
Man, that's pretty badass.
It's also suppressed while you're incapacitated, restrained, or otherwise unable to move. So it doesn't add anything to your AC, but it gives a disadvantage on attack rolls until you're hit, during a round, and then it stops working until your next turn.
Hey, what's
There's
that one called?
Cloak of Displacement.
Don't I have that?
Huh? What's that?
Don't I have that?
Not that I'm aware of. Cloak of Protection, which simply adds +1 to your AC, on top of your armor.
Okay.
Alright, what else do we have here?
I do.
There's also glamored studded leather. Oh, you already bought the cloak of displacement. You never used it.
No, I never did. She could have mine.
Okay. Well, there's an option you can use, Mirrors. There's glamored studded leather. +1 bonus to your AC. It also has a command word that allows you to make it so that it appears to be a normal set of clothing. If you're ever in a situation where you're not supposed to be wearing armor, or it would make you stick out, you can make it look like regular armor, or regular clothing. There was one other, and I can't seem to find it again. There we go. Cloak of the Manta Ray. While using this cloak, with its hood up, you can breathe underwater and you have swimming speed of 60 feet. Holding the hood up or down requires an action. That is all he has available as far as armor goes.
I'll probably get the glamored studded leather and the cloak of protection.
Cloak of Protection was the one you had, right?
No, she had the cloak of
Cloak of
displacement.
displacement.
Oh, displacement. Okay, alright. So... Cloak of... Excuse me. Alright, Cloak of Protection is uncommon. Which, with the discount for the party, is going to be about 250 gold pieces.
Does he have any more of those?
Cloak of Protection.
And the studded armor? I don't care if I have to travel. We got a month.
All right, yeah, you'll have to pay a little bit higher for him to acquire it, since he only has one in stock here, but he knows where to get them. They're uncommon, so
Yeah, I don't care.
acquirable. All right, so
I think I have. Shit, how much gold do I have in my person? I know it's a lot. I have like 8,500.
okay, so he charges you an extra 200 gold pieces to hunt another one down.
So that's a total of 4.
Yep, that sounds right. And let's see, glamored studded leather is rare, so. With the discount, that is going to be 1,500 gold pieces for Echo. And at rare, let's see. They don't charge you up front, Zuko, because they're not sure they can actually acquire another one. Let's see if they succeed over the course of the next month. Wow. Okay. Yeah, they actually do. It takes them almost that entire 60 days, but they do actually manage to acquire one. They charge you an extra 1,500 on top of the base price for all the trouble they had to go through.
So what's my?
So 3,000 gold.
Yeah.
3,000 gold.
But I got the cloak and the armor, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
Alright, I'm okay with that. Whatever. I mean, I have all this freaking money.
Yeah. All right.
And then I get
It's great.
2
Depends
HP
how much you
points,
have,
right?
though.
All right. So studded leather is. Let's see. Studded leather gives you 12.
What's your dexterity modifier?
There's usually a limit of how much your dexterity affects it. Let me double check the rules here.
I believe it is a max of 4. Let's see.
Depending on the armor, some it's like 2, some it's higher.
Well, it's based on the armor class. I think medium is a max of 2. Nope. Light armor is just 12 plus dexterity modifier.
Okay. Which brings you to.
I think 16.
And
I've
then.
been at 17. I know it was like a
wouldn't
level
even
or
have
something.
Well, what are you wearing now?
bought that armor. He's wearing Brigandine of the Solus Templars +1 armor.
Which gives him the resistance to necrotic damage, right?
Yeah. I wouldn't even have bought that armor, Zuko. I don't think you need it.
Yeah. All right. So we can retcon that. If you don't buy that, the cloak of protection will add 1 more to your AC.
Oh, okay, so then what would the cloak then be?
Like I said, the cloak would add 1 to whatever your AC is at now.
I think he needs 7 pieces wise man.
Yeah.
What's that?
How much would just the gold? How much gold would just the cloak be?
Oh,
Even with them searching for it.
we can 400, right?
I think so.
I feel like that's what it was.
Sounds about right.
All right. I'm.
How much would the studded leather add onto your AC?
So I can take a look at your character.
You're already wearing studded leather.
I don't even think I have armor on. That's the first thing.
Oh, you do. It's because we
You
figured
are?
out we didn't go through your starting equipment. One of
Okay.
the start equipment was studded leather, so it's the new one. Here, I'll go ahead and add it to your character sheet.
Okay.
16. It should be 17 with the armor and then 18 with your cloak.
Okay, well that's better than 16.
Yes.
Glamour,
Because studded leather is
so-
12, plus your dexterity is 16.
Oh
plus
yeah, I
the
just have
one from
normal
the
leather on.
armor.
Where do you want to move the old studded leather?
I'm not sure.
You can keep it in your backpack, but there's not really any point in that. You've got a chest that is dedicated to you in the wizard store. You can also keep it on the ship. And in theory, you can keep it in the. Alright. Let's see. Move to. Studded leather. Move to sailor ship. Alright, so it's still in your inventory, but it is listed as on the ship, so it doesn't affect your weight. And let's see, what was the cloak of protection, right?
What the fuck he said?
Weird. Why didn't it? Maybe it's attunement. Oh, cloak of protection has to be attuned. There we go. So you're at 18.
Okay.
Just remember, if we were something to keep in mind, if you are ever in a situation where you're in an anti-magic field or something like that, remember 1 point of your AC is due to magic. And that will have to be taken into consideration.
Come again?
Huh?
Come again?
It's a magical. 1 point of her AC is a magical effect, so if she's ever in an anti-magic field or anything like that, then that 1 point will be taken off during that time. Alright, so did some magic shopping, started another side hustle.
Dude, we have more side hustles in our D&D game than we do in real life.
D&D, where you can play out the ultimate fantasy of scraping by a living.
Yup.
Well, we have our passive income in D&D.
So it will actually probably only take, especially since you are coming into summer, the ground is thawing out. Track should be ready to go about 30 days. Right about the time that Arget will be giving birth.
Alright, what's more important, Malcolm? Baby or making money?
I mean, it's going to be fairly noisy. Well, you know, people won't hear her screaming in labor over at the racetrack.
Just a thought. You can have the track done that fast. If you'd like, you can arrange for the first races to happen after
The baby's
Orcus
born.
has been defeated, and tie it in with a celebration to really get things off the bat. But you can start finding riders who want to participate and get them practicing and stuff like that.
I think Malcolm should race because he can't die.
He can't die. It's just very difficult.
It's very hard.
He's die hard.
I am fucking Bruce Willis, for sure. Do we know anybody that we think would be a decent recruiter for writers? I'm trying to think of who we've met and who we have contacts with.
Let's bring up the NPC list, see if anybody sticks out.
What about that tournament we fought in?
Yeah.
Well, the tournament organizer might be good for organizing the races.
And that actually just
Might work.
something came to mind. That I mean, the entire reason the gauntlet happens is because of the cultural belief that it is very difficult to come to harm on New Dawn.
Come again?
It's seen as a day of good luck, the day after Litzbruka.
Okay.
And that's why the gauntlet happens. It's a cultural belief that it's very difficult to come to harm, so they do a lot of risky activities, like the gauntlet, on that day. And of course, not every city or town has an arena for something like that, but this would definitely be something to set up alongside the gauntlet in other locations, stuff like that. But yes, let's see, who could recruit writers? Who would be able to find daredevils?
Does Clamback know any people that want to do this kind of thing?
Clambeck may be able to put out some feelers, but he's not able to as a noble. He's not able to get into the same
thing.
The kind of places you're going to want to recruit writers is going to be taverns that are adventures, low end.
What about the tavern owner where all the airships were at? Like where all the airship people went to?
Absolutely, that would be a great place to pick up that someone with the right set of skills, and looking for that kind of action.
I think that guy was. I think that inn was in Anexa, if I remember correctly, because that's where we were trying to find an airship for the first time, if I remember right. I just can't. The Lucky Hawk.
Oh, I know where you're talking about. Favorite stop of independent airship cruise. It's where you talk to the captain that actually brought you to Palhas.
Yeah.
And the Winged Stag is a great place. And of course, you guys have 2 months, so if you want to take a trip down to... let's see... I'm trying to remember the name of the town where your airships actually get built. Halakheim, I think.
It was something Heim, I know that.
Wait, no, it was Bunerly.
Bunerly, there you go.
And it's where you interviewed pilots and stuff like that. It's where you found Duskchin.
Yeah.
Let's see. Tavern. The Blue Crane in Bunerly. God, man, we're really digging into the notes.
Yeah, we are.
Deep pulls.
Deep cuts.
So yeah, if you guys want to take a trip, I'm sure you guys could go down there and, we don't even have to do skill checks for that. Just go down there and talk up these bikes. When do you go out for your first test drive?
I would say we should go out for a test drive before we start going to talk to people. Because I think it would be really good for Zuko to give a demonstration of the bike for people to get people excited about how fast
I was thinking. That's exactly what I was thinking. Because he could literally fly himself down to Bunerly.
Yeah.
Fly out of the sky, land right in front of that tavern, do a little skid stop. Alright, so the earliest that the bike can be done will be about the 12th. You and Malcolm working on it together. Oops. Hey, stop.
Do you want us to do skill checks, or are you just going to say that we just do average time on it?
Yeah, there's no need for... so let's see. You and Malcolm finished the bike on the 12th of Summerin. It is 67-degree day.
It's pretty nice weather.
Light wind coming in from the northwest, 1 to 3 miles an hour. No precipitation, no clouds. Nice sunny day. So you drag it out of...
Oh, I look over at Zuko. I'm like, I think maybe we want to get you some goggles and some gloves and stuff. Make sure you're protected before you jump on the sucker. They don't have to be magic goggles or anything, but you might just want to pick up a couple things before you jump on this thing.
Well, alright, if you insist.
Alright, so Zuko spends about 100 gold pieces on leather chaps. A
Assless or assed?
A leather jacket with fringes. Some goggles.
And it has the regulators embroidered on the back of it?
Oh, hell yes. The regulators are on the back. Paul Haas original. See, now I can justify that shirt design.
Do you want to repeat?
Yes, please. Now it's canon. But you purchase all this nice riding gear. Where would you like to test this out in? Or would you like to head to the track and try to run around, or you just want to find a nice long stretch of open road?
I think just a long stretch of open road, I would think.
Alright, so Zuko.
Either fine.
What is Zuko's last name? Does Zuko have a last name?
The made-up one
Mousebane?
that he was Mousebane.
Okay.
More like mouse faint.
Alright, so you fly Serenity out to the open highway out between Anexa and Palhas. Walk the bike out of Serenity's cargo hold and onto the road. Hop onto the bike and power it up. The second you hit the throttle, Zuko takes off faster than you expect. You almost go flying off the back.
Does he scream like a little girl?
Manage to keep yourself on top of it and give it another shot, now anticipating the acceleration a little bit better. Timidly bringing it up to speed without pushing it, pedal to the metal. Get a nice cruising speed going, and then once you finally feel comfortable, you really let go. Once you're comfortable with the top speed on this thing, you go ahead and extend the high altitude wings and let it carry you up into the air. And spend a day flying around on this thing until you get really comfortable with the controls.
Okay.
And you now have yourself a flying speeder bike.
Now we just need to get you a highly inaccurate laser blaster.
Alright, so, we've dealt with the bike. Now, of course, I assume, Malcolm, you've already had your conversation with Arget about when you want to do the wedding. Have you picked a date?
Well, I think the plan was after she gave birth, correct?
Which she's due on the 26th, correct?
Yes. So, I mean, I want her to be comfortable, so I don't want her to, to rush it like the day after. But I would say maybe like a week or two after. Let's go 2 weeks after.
Alright, so the 38th?
Yeah. Can I roll to see how fast she gets her body back? I'm just joking.
Come again.
Ow.
It was a joke, Mira. It was a joke.
No, I didn't hear you.
He said he rolled to see how fast she gets her body back.
Oh Jesus. Well, actually, considering it is the first child, you do tend to kind of bounce back a little bit. It's after the third or fourth where you're fucked.
Alright, so it's currently the 12th.
I'm still trying.
Alright, so your Arget agrees to the date. You begin putting plans together. She's thankful for the distraction.
And I try to make sure I get her out walking around with me, every day for a little bit.
Yep. As I said, when you got back, she was having a hard time sitting still anyway. Of course, she's under the watchful eye of Tidgrud, but he tends to try to keep her close to the grounds of the palace, not wanting to take any risks without your say-so.
That makes sense. I also feel like he probably would stay out of her way when she's up and about.
However, when Tidgrud hears the news about the wedding, he begs your permission, since you're going to be sticking around anyway, to head down to Boheim to check on the security situation, make sure that the wedding and the events surrounding it are secure from any intrusions, and if there are any, that there's ways to get everybody to safety or defend these locations.
So I definitely would be fine with him going down and making sure everything is secure and setting up plans for the wedding and quick exit if need be. I'd like to actually send Lorimer down with him too, because I think Lorimer could possibly create a doorway if we need to make a quick exit. Maybe.
All right. You send correspondence to Lorimer. He agrees to meet Tidgrud down there when he arrives. Tidgrud gets a bit of a pep in his step when you give him permission to go. Excited to be, out doing something. So he'll be gone for the next week or so, making sure that's all set up. Alright, if there is nothing in particular any of you want to do, I'm going to jump to...
I was going to ask if, after we left the magic shop, if there was like a children's... Oh my god, words. A children's shelter or like an orphanage?
Are you able to turn down the music just a little, Matt?
Not in Anexa. There is in Palhas, which you can get to pretty quickly if you need to.
Okay.
What is it you're hoping to do?
I just want to go, visit and spend time with the kids. Maybe bring them some books.
I love that idea.
Okay, so if
I'd probably stop at the library and pick up a bunch of books, and then go spend some time with the bookstore, and probably just go spend time with the kids.
Hell, I'll join you. That sounds
okay.
That sounds sweet.
So do you bring this up to the rest of the party?
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
Okay, if you brought it up with any of them, they would immediately suggest that you talk to Sebastian.
Okay.
Sebastian meets with you and is extremely excited about what you want to do. He explains, since you were not around back when they discovered this, he actually grew up in... It was just mentioned in
the music is a little loud.
The music just a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd probably bring the books and see if they need anything else. See if they're running low on anything.
Okay.
Do the orphan kids have any toys or anything like that?
Yeah.
They have some. You guys. Just a minute here. I'm trying to bring up the thing for the orphanage. Frost Brewer Orphanage. He actually, well, not. He eventually ran away at some point, but he grew up in the Frost Brewer Orphanage. Is very close with the owner. Every year around the time of Let's Bruca, he makes a donation, a large donation from all of his earnings throughout the year to help get the children gifts. So he happily takes you with him to Palhas, introduces you to the man who runs the place, introduces you to the kids, and if you can spend however much you want on books and spend as much time as you like over at the orphanage.
Well, yeah, so I think I bring them books, toys, whatever they need.
Alright, you can place whatever value you want on that and remove that from your inventory.
I just realized I haven't been on D&D.
Very, very nice. And I mean, you definitely went up a notch in Sebastian's book. That's for sure. So. Yeah, this is actually the orphanage from our Christmas one-shot. This is the orphanage, the kids whose dreams that he was actually going after when we got snared up in there. That dream room. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and jump us to the week before Arget's due date.
Damn. We're a monster? Are we going into combat?
Roll initiative.
I burped and I guess.
Alright, so week before Arget's due date is the payday for the Serenity crew. I think I've been missing those lately.
Let's just say they've been getting paid. It's just better to go off that way.
Trying to remember let's see, regular expense every 30 days. I believe you typically pay them 244 gold pieces a month.
Right.
That sounds right, I believe.
Sounds good.
Alright. Anything else before I make the next time jump?
No. Oh, there's a fabric place here in Annexa, right?
It's either here or in Palhas. Right?
Well, I guess while we're in Palhas, I would like to buy, I would commission baby booties and blankets and stuff like that for Malcolm's little one.
Awesome.
Which I can't remember. Oh yeah, I did come up with a name, I think.
Yes, Alara.
Feminine version of Alaric. Yeah. Let's see. So, yes.
Also, while I'm there, I'd like to get them, commission a baby blanket and also try and find them a wedding gift.
Okay. So for blankets and clothing and stuff like that. Age-old yarn in Palhas. A fabric store run by a gaggle of old gnomish women. Spend whatever, honestly, you think is fair for the amount of stuff
They
you
know
want.
us. They know us pretty well too. So if you say that it's for a wedding gift or a baby gift for the group,
Oh yeah.
I'd be very excited to work on it.
Yeah, they made his monkey's little trench coat.
Oh yeah, the fact that I'm gonna mention that it's for his baby, they're probably gonna be like, oh my god.
Yeah, they do know you pretty well over there. So what are you looking for to get that as far as a gift, Cece?
Would
I have
120
no
gold be
idea.
fair?
What's that?
Will 120 gold be fair for what I'm getting from them?
That's pretty high-end stuff, yeah.
Okay, cool. I'm just like double checking here.
I'm sorry.
What? Oh, what's up? What is something that? Okay, I'm not really. What is something that's like what is a wedding gift that like is common for like the Fey realm ish? Like what? Because like what is something that
Flowers.
like Echo would be familiar with? I guess.
Maybe
The snapping flower that tried to eat Malcolm.
maybe a bouquet. Maybe like a bouquet of flowers that never ages, like is magically enchanted.
That's a possibility. Being from the Fey realm,
Like I'm very curious as to what like they do for wedding gifts, because like I feel like that's what Echo would be the most like.
Pranks.
Like she'd be the most like know the most, because she's not very knows a lot about this world's traditions.
Okay, so all right, so I feel like Echo wouldn't know exactly where to start, but would be just
Yeah.
looking around for something that speaks to her. Being from the Fey realm, you're very focused on emotions. So you do, over the course of the next few weeks, you take a few more stops by Alhaz, and one of the times that you stop in, you notice this small marble that looks to have, not actually a marble, it's more of like a natural pearl, that you recognize as actually having come from the Fey realm. And it's currently embedded in a ring. This pearl, when attuned to someone, communicates their mood through color, magically, not through heat like real mood rings, but it actually does attune to the person who's wearing it their mood, and you get the idea of purchasing this ring, which is going to run about 200 gold pieces.
Okay.
And you pull it from its mounting, and right. This is for the wedding, right?
Yes.
So it's a somewhat gaudy ring, so you decide to get it remounted in the jewelry of your choice.
I think maybe a necklace for Arget.
Sounds nice. So for a new chain and remounting it, that's going to run you another 25 gold pieces.
Okay.
Make sure the chain is long enough so it goes right between the boobies, so I have a look between the boobies to see what her mood is. Because that would make me happy all the time. And then I'll know her mood. So.
All right. Anything else before we jump to
Nope.
No, I have some wedding things to do, but I think we'll wait until after the birth. We'll jump to the birth and then go through some wedding stuff.
Alright. So, Malcolm, the morning of the 26th. It is a nice, warm, 73-degree day. Gentle breeze. A little bit cloudy, but no rain. You awaken, noticing the weight from next to you in the bed has dissipated. And quickly, as you're waking, you realize there's a bit of commotion. Arget is walking around the room trying to keep contractions under control, but you can, after a couple minutes of being awake, you realize the contractions are very close together, and she is ready to go.
Oh my fucking god, it's almost like my fucking situation.
So I wasn't sure if we had a specific doula or medical person, but I know Kaylee is probably capable as well.
Kaylee, since you guys have gotten back and taken the month off, Kaylee has happily been looking over Arget and is more than happy to do the honors.
Awesome.
So yeah, I'll send for Kaylee pretty much immediately.
Alright.
Is this where we're all pacing outside of the hallway and just hoping everything's gonna be okay?
Kaylee asks Arget, and Ryan, I will let you make this determination for Arget, where she would be most comfortable doing this. Would she rather stay in the room? Would she rather be moved to a more serene and natural location? Would she like to do a water birth? There's all kinds of options. Would she like to be in a temple when it comes out?
I do suggest tubs. They do help a lot with the pain.
Is there a temple for the god that I'm a champion of?
Ooh. Sounds interesting.
Not technically, because the Fira have not been very openly acknowledged among civilized society for some time. The closest you're going to come is the goddess that currently works in that domain. And it is going to throw some people off. But
okay, so you ask both in the goddess of death.
Yeah, you are looking for essentially a funeral chapel.
Oh my god! Wow!
Dedicated to Joanna.
Oh shit!
And if you
maybe let me rethink this for a second.
Oh my god, that's great!
You really thought that one through, Malcolm. Good for you.
Hey, I have bad ideas.
Across
You
the
know?
face.
Oh my god!
Let's just go with a natural, peaceful, serene setting for water birth.
Okay, so she wants to go out into the woods and find a nice grove with, a hot spring or something like that. Which, actually, you're in a good place for that. There is one nearby in Kingswood. So they,
just ask me,
with the help
like
of
I
the
said,
speed of Serenity,
man,
she's taken out there. Yourself, Kaylee, is there anyone else you want?
I'm sure these chuckleheads will come.
You sure you want us there? This is a very vulnerable time for a woman.
I mean,
That's up to her.
You don't have to be like there, but you can be like on the Serenity waiting for news, like there, nearby.
Okay, all right. I got you.
All right. So Kaylee, along with a couple other Nalula priests, walk her out into the woods, into a natural hot spring, where they put her in a reclined position. while Kaylee is doing the majority of the actual, birthing process, the other priests are using spells to help calm and relieve pain for Arget.
Dude, that sounds great.
So in a pool of golden glowing bubbling water, okay, that sounded off.
Yes! Yes, it did!
It's supposed to look
It's okay!
divine.
It's okay! It's okay! It's okay, just give me a minute! Just give me a minute!
So not pea water.
The image I am trying to evoke is like a pool of fairy dust.
Okay, no, that's
From-
fine. It's
from,
fine. It's just like you said
Peter Pan.
yellow, and my brain went to something.
Well, I said golden, and like I literally mean golden glowing, like the fairy dust from. So
Not
it
the
crea-
showers that Trump enjoys.
No. Oh my gosh, this has gone off the rails.
I love that I was the only one that got the picture you were going for.
So the mix of magic and the natural bubbling hot
I'm so
spring
sorry. I'm sorry. Oh, shit.
creates a very divine and miraculous, by coincidence, image for you, Malcolm. And you can't quite see what's going on, but Kaylee seems like, because of the way that the water looks, you can't quite see through it, but Kaylee seems to know
This
what
music
she's doing,
seems so sad.
what is going on beneath the surface, and seemingly before you know it, after a fairly short amount of time, you see Kaylee shift position and begin to stand up, and coming out of that pool of golden light, your baby daughter emerges into the world.
I kind of wait for a signal before I just start run up. Because I'm sure Arget wants to hold her first.
Yep. They move her into a more natural sitting position, wrap the baby and put it in her arms, allow them to spend some time together. And then after she is ready to pass the baby on, they wrap her in fresh, dry swaddling and pass it on to you.
And yeah, I just hold her and just am awestruck about how miraculous the whole thing is. Anything I notice? Like, do I feel like a connection, like, to the goddess with her, or?
He's breaking up for me. I can't hear.
How to describe this? You feel balance. Is the best way I can describe it. As your position as the arbiter of death, you feel almost a counterbalance to what you had to go through a few weeks ago in the Imperial City when you had to take that woman's life to correct what had been done. You feel the counterbalance in the birth of this child. And it doesn't feel specific to the child, but simply the act of life coming into the world. It gives you a bit of perspective on that unfortunate aspect of your championship. This is what it is for. This is the balance that you are helping maintain.
With death becomes new life, and I get that sense in this moment.
Yep. That is what you get.
Which, of course, makes me even a bit more emotional and up in my feelings about the whole thing.
And of course, this is probably the first time you've truly felt the pressure of wanting to change your lifestyle as soon as you can. Because while Arget is a very independent woman and very capable of moving on while you are away, looking at your child.
There for...
Yeah. Sorry, you were gonna ask them?
No, I was gonna say. I was gonna ask if Arget was out of the pool now, or if she was still in the hot spring.
At the moment, she is just basking in it. She feels a great sense of relief and is just enjoying the natural, relaxation of the hot spring itself.
Yeah.
It is doing wonders for her, postpartum. The priests are healing any damage that has occurred in the birthing process. God, that would be nice in real life.
Shut the hell up!
Keep it clean.
Shut up! You're not the one that
This
ends up
is
saying
supposed to be such a
bitch.
wholesome session.
I ended up getting like what? Six
but
bitches?
yeah.
Hey, magic would be awesome in real life. Just saying.
Yeah, no, and definitely fucking would. Fucking agree there.
And it's funny, that's one thing they don't warn you about childbirth is that it isn't really talked about how much, as it's a natural process, but it does a shit ton of damage on multiple levels.
Oh, a shit ton. A
Like
shit ton. Then there's the
8d10s.
stupid ass doctor. Husband stitch. Fuck.
Alright, eventually she does.
I was gonna say, so if she's basking and relaxing, I wouldn't, bother her. I'll hold Alara and just.
She does beckon you over to go ahead and dip your feet in the pool and sit, so the three of you can just enjoy each other's presence. But eventually she is ready to get out, and they give her dry robes to step out of the pool, and you can return.
Okay, here's my question though. There's magic in this world, right?
Yeah.
Does she gotta wait 6 weeks to heal too?
No, like I said, it's all.
Oh my fucking god, you fucking lucky woman! Oh my god.
What pain relieving spell were they casting? Was it Epiduris?
Lemgardium epidural.
So they quicken her labor with Eudes the fetus.
So you see, your common saying became a spell.
I'm going to have to cut so many highlights from this episode.
Why? Let them fucking watch that we enjoy ourselves.
No, I'm saying I need to get the highlights.
Oh! Okay, I misunderstood. I'm sorry. My brain is not fully here.
If we're ready to go back to the ship, then
Do we need to go chase it? Do we need to go chase your brain? Is it on the run?
It is probably.
It's
but
out
if
of
we're
the
going
room,
to the ship,
You
I
want
want
me
to
to
make
chase
it.
it or have Luna chase it?
I want to make an entry if we're heading back to the ship now.
An entry?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm assuming they're probably all waiting by the door for us to come back. I'm assuming, right?
Am I gonna have to control Wolfric to be?
You're probably gonna have to control
Because there's a new
Echo.
presence
Echo's gonna get
in
real
the
excited that there's a baby.
Yes, I assume they're all waiting by the door.
Or in the cargo hold, I should say.
Yeah.
So I'll be a couple of steps ahead.
That's up to
And as they catch up, I'm just gonna kind of burst in the door and be like, "Here's Alara!"
Okay, I am so tired of not being able to hear him. Hold on. I'm gonna fucking toss these in the trail. Let me see the other ones.
Alright. So Malcolm and the rest of them make their way back into the cargo hold.
Yep. I bust in and say, "Here's the everybody."
What's the matter?
Weird.
The headphones are going bad?
Yes, the headphones are going bad.
That sucks.
I can hear you now, Malcolm!
Yay!
Wolfric is very excited, sniffs at the swaddled bundle, but behaves himself.
I feel like Malcolm's gonna be like, you have someone to protect now, too.
No. Just interested in the new smell.
Where's Jack at?
That is up to you.
Where is Jack?
I just
forgot about Jack.
Always being on your shoulder now.
He's probably just like hanging around in the cargo hold. He probably swings down.
All right.
He'll sit on my shoulder when I come back in.
And gives a kind of, cocks his head to the side. Looks at you, gives you the signal, that he's hungry. Keeps eyeing the baby like it's, competing for food.
Like, Jack.
Doesn't mean I get fed less, right?
Jack, it's okay.
I would probably sign as like, you don't eat food. You're never hungry. You're always hungry.
Well, remember, he still has no concept of the fact that he is undead. He still thinks he's alive.
I imagine Echo is probably like Wonder Woman in the first Wonder Woman of the recent ones, where she's like, "Baby," and then Mira has to pull her back, like, no. It's like, "Oh my god, baby!" And then she's just like, no. Oh my god.
Zuko, Mira, Echo. Do you guys wanna meet your niece?
Yes.
Yes.
You guys are more or less her uncles and aunts. So yeah, I think we'll take some time and let them all visit with Alara before.
Is it getting warm in the room? I forgot about that.
Oh, yes, actually it is.
Come again.
Echo has a very, amber glow to her, and the room is getting very warm.
Oh.
I forgot about that.
It's getting hot in here.
Just keep on all your clothes. Just keep them on, please.
Malcolm, as the baby is being passed around to be admired by your friends who are now, I assume, his closest family, you feel an almost ethereal hand on your shoulder. The sensation, you know that no one's there. You know it's not an actual hand on your shoulder. But it feels like a hand nonetheless. Kind of patting you on the back, squeezing your shoulder, and a familiar presence.
Is it a lark?
After thinking about a few moments, you realize that it feels very much to you like a lark is watching over this moment. And the connection you are able to feel because you have the connection to the other side.
And I think in that moment I would probably say, I wish you were here to really see this, my friend. I'd probably shed a tear. You don't see Malcolm cry often.
With that, you feel that, that's gentle squeeze once more, acknowledging your statement. And in a sense, you feel like he's saying, that's all right. I'm glad I could see it this way. It's better than not at all. And after a few moments, that sensation and that presence dissipates. At this point, Dustin asks if you are ready to return to the city.
Yes, I think we are.
Alright.
Time to get our first crappy night's sleep.
You do have a very rough night. However, the nice thing about having friends in high places in the palace, there's no shortage of hands to help you in any way that you need. Both, keeping you and Mom supplied with whatever you need for the baby or for yourselves to keep you sane, and whenever you really need someone to take the baby off your hands for a little bit and give you a break.
How do they feed the baby?
Huh?
How would they feed the baby?
Wet nurses are a thing.
Ah.
And even if it's just for a few moments, just to get the baby away so they can take a nap or.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. I kind of like the idea of wet nurses though, because it kind of gives you a break.
Yeah. Towards the end of the week, the 30th.
I don't know.
The summer solstice hits. There are small celebrations throughout the city. It's not a huge partying day, but definitely a note of festivity throughout the city. And on this evening, you are informed that Tidgred has returned from Boheim. And Malcolm, you are told that he requests your presence in his quarters.
Okay, so I would go stop by and visit with Sigurd.
All right. When you come to his chambers, he and you knock on the door. He, welcomes you to come in. Oh, by the way, Echo Tidgred is Dragonkin.
Oh, okay. Yeah, just so I'm not imagining him as human,
Yeah. Tidgred
He's like the first NPC we met, pretty much.
Yeah, just about. He is a very fairly aged, very grisly red dragonkin, who with a wooden leg that is carved immaculately to resemble a normal dragonkin leg, complete with claws and scales and all. However, Malcolm, as you enter the room, he is sitting by the window watching the festivities, throughout the city out the window, as the sun is beginning to set at his latest of the year, of course. And he actually has his prosthetic leg off, and you notice sitting in the corner, there's actually two of them. There's one, the battered and chipped one that you've always known him to have. Next to it is a brand spanking new, freshly carved, freshly painted leg. Looks like he is saving for the upcoming special occasion before he puts any wear and tear onto it. Thank you, Malcolm. I appreciate you stopping by. How is the child?
She's pretty awesome. For a newborn, nothing too exciting yet, but I'm hoping, we'll start teaching her stuff, and as she grows older.
Congratulations. I'm sorry I didn't make it back in time to see it.
Oh, it's okay. You've been around for a long time, and I'm glad you were able to look at the security for us.
Yes, I didn't want to leave any stones unturned down there. We have special preparations both at the temple and the college in case there's any unwanted visitors. We can get Arget and the child and anyone else out to safety quickly. Have security set up along the reception routes. All of that. The guards are... we're making some new hires to make sure that there's plenty of manpower in town the day of the event. everything should be perfectly safe.
I think also, Tigrid, if I can be candid, I think anybody would be completely moronic to try to do something on my wedding day because they would have me after them.
Well, I've done some reading up on Orcus, and I don't know anything about his intelligence, so we'll have to see. But this is not why I requested your presence. There was another matter I wanted to discuss.
What is it?
We have a moment of peace here for a while, but I know soon you will be acquiring the final weapon. And shortly thereafter, we will be bringing the fight to Orcus himself.
Correct.
I have been watching over your bride-to-be for some time now, and I've appreciated the assignment. Very honored that you considered me for that honor. But as long as you've known me, you know where I've always wanted to be is back out on the front lines. There are others that are capable of keeping Arget safe when that day comes, and with your blessing, I would like to be part of that fight.
I don't think there would be anybody else I would want on the front line besides you. Tigger. You've been through a lot. You've been with us since the beginning, and I want to see you fight where you want to fight.
You weren't able to notice it when you walked into the room, but the way his chest relaxed, he realizes that this is a huge relief. He was very certain that you were going to tell him no. But he is very relieved and thankful. I appreciate it. I know it's going to be a risk, and the fact that you are giving me the room to make that choice shows what a true friend you are. So, I thank you for that.
Of course, I respect your decision, and I look forward to fighting alongside you.
Fantastic. Well, enough of this gloomy business. We have a wedding to plan, right?
We do.
Alright.
Out of character, Matt. If you kill Tigrid in this final battle, I
will kick your ass.
Okay, out of character. Serious talk moment. This was a decisions have consequences conversation. When it comes down to the final session, the final fight for Haim and all of that, nothing is guaranteed one way or the other. Any NPC, and there you guys have made a lot of friends, and many of them are fighting friends. Anyone who is out on that battlefield, I will let you guys choose one to be 100% immune.
So
but otherwise,
one special cinnamon roll. One special cinnamon roll. That's it.
Yep. Everyone else, again, not guaranteed one way or the other, but everyone else who is present in that final battle, their lives are on the line.
Ryan, I don't like this.
And again, like I said, I'm not handpicking anybody. It's all going to come down to chance. But anybody who's
I don't like this.
I don't like this.
Well,
We've made too many special friends. Ah!
We'll have to put our heads together and figure out who we want to give immunity to.
Yeah.
So I will grant one NPC plot armor, but anybody else who is present out there, there is a chance that they don't come back.
Okay.
And I'm working on a system to determine how that all plays out. Of course, there are certain decisions, in the process that will increase or decrease risks to certain characters, but I want to make sure everybody's.
I will be right back.
All right, we're about to go to break in a few minutes anyway.
Oh.
So yeah, just something to keep in mind that besides the one person you pick, nobody is 100% safe when that day comes. So.
Oh my god, we're gonna have to discuss which cinema roll we have to save. We're gonna save.
All right, so one more. There's another bank check the next day. Another 2,000 gold pieces.
Jesus Christ.
The Jarl is commissioning ships out the ass.
Damn.
Using your design, of course, for troop transport, essentially.
So basically, guys, so he's paying us, right? And we're still gonna steal that line?
That's still not 100%. We don't know how we're even gonna steal it if we do, so...
And most of you guys are doing it for the challenge, so you guys could steal it and give it right back.
We just wanted to see what's possible. Do you want it back?
Or simply move it. He goes mad trying to find it and finds it in another one of his...
Oh my god, no, that'd be great! It is such a freaking chaotic trickster thing to fucking do.
We're sitting in town square in Paul House. Alright, is there anything else that anybody wants to do before the day of, the night before the wedding, I should say?
Would it be weird if I dressed up for the wedding?
No.
Well,
awesome.
The night before the wedding, you said?
That's going to be the time jump we're coming to after break.
Oh, night
Are we
before the wedding?
going to go over some of the stuff we discussed, like my invitations to some people and
yes.
stuff?
Yes. Go ahead and describe what you do in that regard.
So I'm going to hire somebody to take a invitation to be my best man to Zuko.
Ooh.
Rather than hand delivering it myself, I'm going to hire somebody, and as he hears a knock on his door, he opens the door to see a mousekin. Oh my god!
So Zuko opens the door, looks out, doesn't see anything until he hears a squeaky voice, down here.
And in the envelope is an invitation to be my best man. Because you know what, I'd have to. That kind of emotional moment, I have to still pick on you. So, Arget would send an invitation to Ethid to be her maid of honor, with requesting Mira to be in her wedding party as well. Arget just doesn't know Echo well enough yet, so she's probably
That's fine.
going to invite you. But yeah, we all plan to have a little event the night before the wedding, so...
And that is where we will come back when we come back from break. For those watching, of course, this will just be a 5-second delay for the rest of the episode.
So y'all better go pee fast.
All right, we are back. All right. So, let's change the music here.
I can imagine it's just gonna be like Thor, just.
I just had a thought.
It's funny you mentioned a Thor reference, because I was about to make like an Iron Man reference. Like, can I get an amulet that hides my armor, and I just like smack it?
Yes.
All right, so day before the wedding, you all take your ride down to Boheim. Oh, I apologize. Before you guys leave the town, sometime during that time period, Mira King Vosser informs you that while he can't fully ban the huntsman from the kingdom, guards in all towns and cities have been informed to keep an eye out for them, and if they do show up in any settlement, to stick on them like glue.
Yes.
So if by any chance you do happen to run into any of your former compatriots, they will be surrounded by guards constantly.
That sounds good. I'm still keeping up disguises though.
Okay.
Just to...
So, you bring up these huntsmen right after saying that we weren't going to have any AC at the wedding.
I'm only bringing it up now because I was double checking my notes. I haven't really been looking at them during this time period. I realized there was a few items I forgot to mention.
There's going to be a wedding throwdown, guys.
You've also been informed that there was a discussion at one of the previous meetings about the difficulty in getting a large amount of wizards involved in any military action. Your friend Gavin has appealed to his college on behalf of the Quorum to establish a temporary army of wizards that will be participating in the assault on Haim.
I'm surprised if I didn't go Gavin.
Alright, so night before the wedding...
I have a cookie in my mouth. Fucking Gavin.
Cookie!
Cookie.
You all head to the new Cullen family farm. Only close friends and family. The baby is being watched over nearby by some priests of Nulula. They're taking care of the baby, so you can all enjoy the celebration. Only closest friends and family are brought to the farm. There is a heavy guard presence. They're keeping a respectful distance, but keeping the farm surrounded to make sure that there are no surprise visitors. So, as the sun sets, there is copious amounts of food and alcohol, and delivered to the farm is also copious amounts of stoneware and porcelain dishes. As you all get a nice heavy buzz, traditional smashing of dishes, stoneware and porcelain, no glass for whatever reason, is thrown around the main living area of the house. A bonfire is built outside.
That sounds interesting.
Malcolm and Arget, as tradition dictates, sweeps up the remains of this smashed dishware, and a small pit in the front yard is dug where it is thrown in. You continue celebrating around the bonfire, retelling tales of how you all met and how this family has come together. And as the night begins to draw to a close, Arget and Malcolm are goaded into the final part of this tradition, which is known as what was it called again?
I'm scrolling up through a conversation.
There was a name for it.
The veil dance? No, that's
Nope, the other one.
That's for the actual wedding. Polter night?
Polter night, where Malcolm is encouraged to discard his pants. Arget is encouraged to remove her bra, and both are dipped into the flames of the bonfire and paraded around for a few moments before being dropped into the small hole with the smashed dishware, where they burn to ashes, signifying the end of their bachelorhood. And the pit is left open for another tradition the following day.
So is Malcolm just walking around pantless now?
He's in his long johns, I assume.
Yep. No, you don't get to see it helicoptering.
Oh, I was not. My God, Ryan, no! Ryan, no!
So as the party dies down, you all fall asleep and
Just like that, I'm gay.
sleep off the alcohol. First thing in the morning. Oh, sorry. Actually, at the end of the night, Arget is driven into town. Zuko, as the best man, one of your traditional duties is actually to be the personal guard of the bride-to-be.
Oh, that's interesting.
While, of course, you have plenty of backup in the form of guards, you are able to sleep off your hangover in a chair outside the door of Arget's quarters for the night.
Out of the chair?
Okay.
But you will be her escort to the wedding the following morning. Or, sorry, more closer to noon, actually. In this culture, weddings are done a little closer to the end of the day.
Wait, you're telling me we kind of did it right?
Even later than we did it, by a few hours. So, the following morning, you all get ready. Of course, Ephid, Zuko, and Mira are with Arget. When everybody is finally ready, you are brought to what used to be the Temple of the Black Star, which has been cleaned up, sanctified, and rededicated to Enki. It is chosen as the venue because it is the largest temple in town. As is tradition in this culture, the best man and the rest of the wedding party makes their way up to the front of the temple first to join Kaylee, who is standing at the front of the temple, and Malcolm and Arget, you actually walk down the aisle together. See if we can find more appropriate music for a wedding. Or at least a temple.
Red wedding. The red wedding music starts playing.
Don't give that ideas.
Cece says she wants that officially played at her wedding. My brain's going so many directions with this. I'm just like, okay, I can make it 100% happen.
I never said that.
Yes, you did.
No,
I never heard that Ned has something planned for this wedding, so
I never said that.
Don't make me do it. I will do it just to freaking scare the crap out of you.
I never said I wanted the red wedding music played at that wedding.
Alright, so you and Arget make your way to the front of the temple, arm in arm, and join your wedding party in front of Kaylee. As you take your places and the music dies down, the first thing she does is she pulls out a bag of what appears to be salt, and she walks around the couple. As she drops it onto the floor, there is a golden glow to it as she blesses it with a spell, and surrounds the couple in a circle of salt. And then she takes her place back by the altar. If everyone could be seated, The temple is absolutely packed full, in addition to your family and friends. Some nobles, both from the local area and from Annexa, are in attendance, as well as many townsfolk as they could fit in. Everyone takes their seats. Welcome, friends and family of Malcolm Colin and Arget Swede, and other honored guests. We gather here today to bless the eternal union of these two souls in this life and the next. Before we begin, who offers their blessing of this union today? And you see King Vosser, who is seated in the front. He stands and shouts in a way that reverberates throughout the entire temple. I, Rupert Vosser, bless this union, and with me stands the whole of the kingdom of Palhas. There's a bit of cheering throughout the temple. As it dies down, Gilly says, "Thank you. Malcolm Colin and Arget Swede, today you stand before your family and friends and the gods to make the most important oath any mortal can make. The promises you make today are sacred. They are the groundwork from which your marriage will grow and blossom over time. Always keep one another close to your hearts, especially when you must journey apart. Respect and honor one another, your partnership, family, and hearth. With your hearts true, may you weather any storms. May the gods watch over you both and always guide you safely home." Before we begin the ceremony, I have chosen a reading. Now you will feel no storms, for each of you will be shelter to the other. Now you will feel no cold, for each of you will be warmth to the other. Now there is no loneliness, for each of you is companion to the other. You are two persons, but there is one life before you, and one home. Turn together to look at the road you traveled, to reach this, the hour of your happiness. It stretches behind you into the past. Look to the future that lies ahead, a long and winding, adventure-filled road, whose every turn means discovery, new hopes, new joys, new laughter, and a few shared tears. May happiness be your companion. May beauty surround you both in the journey ahead. And through all the years to come, go this day to your dwelling place and enter into your days together. May your days be good and long upon the earth. Your adventure has just begun. At this point, she brings out a set of ribbons and ropes and begins a hand-fasting ceremony as she I've lost my place. Okay, so she does the hand-fasting ceremony, sorry. And says some blessings over the ribbons as your hands are tied together, and casts a spell, after which the ribbons of rope are tied into a very tight rope that is held by both of you rather than being around your hands. And then she calls out, "The swords and the rings, please." Malcolm, your father, and Tidgrud step forward. Kaylee says, "Traditionally, the bride would pass a family sword from her father to her new husband to represent the passing on of the responsibility for her protection from father to husband. Arget's father is no longer with us, so Captain Tidgrud, who has acted as her personal guard for some time, will do the honors." And Tidgrud steps forward with a very old-looking family sword and brings it up to Ephid. Ephid takes out the ring intended for Malcolm and puts it on the tip of the blade. And Tidgrud presents the blade to Arget. Malcolm, your father steps forward with a freshly fashioned... What?
I know what this is.
Freshly fashioned sword that bears your chosen new last name, and brings it up to Zuko, who will put the band intended for Arget onto the tip of the sword, and your father presents you with the sword. You both stand face to face holding the blades up. And Kaylee says, and Malcolm's father presents him with the family blade, which will be given to Arget to keep safe until their firstborn son has need of it on the day of his wedding, and so pass on through the generations. Now, Malcolm, before these witnesses and the gods, do you take Arget as your beloved wife, to have it to hold through laughter and in sadness, through challenges and successes, poverty or riches, to love, honor, and respect so long as you both shall live?
I do.
Arget, before these witnesses and the gods, do you take you take Malcolm as your beloved husband, to have and to hold through laughter and in sadness, through challenges and successes, poverty or riches, to love, honor, and respect, so long as you both shall live? She says, I do. And at this point, you both lower the swords and retrieve your bands from the swords, then point the blades down, put on your rings, and exchange the swords themselves. Kaylee says, by the power granted to me by Nalula and the kingdom of Palhas, I do sanctify this union and declare you husband and wife. And you may now kiss the bride. There's loud cheering throughout the temple. The music starts back up. And you guide the wedding party down the aisles out the front of the temple, where two carriages await. One for the wedding party and close family and friends, and one for Malcolm and Arget. Malcolm, as you and Arget enter the carriage, you see the traditional bottle of schnapps awaits you, sitting on a little table inside of the carriage. The wedding party proceeds up the spiral road to the college at the top of the hill, as your carriage brings you back out to the family farm. As the sun is beginning to set, it is roughly golden hour, and it brings you back to the family farm. You and Arget get out and walk to the pit that was dug the night before, where the ashes and the remains of the stone and porcelain sit in this small pit. Arget is holding the bottle of schnapps, and she's looking at it with some melancholy. And she says, you know, I admit, I had hoped by the time this day came that all of these troubles would be over.
I hoped that things would be over myself. We thought they were going to be over. We stopped the plans of Mantis. But life and duty and responsibility don't wait for any man.
And this I understand. But she holds the bottle up. When we dig this up in a year and share a drink from it, you'll be home for good.
I will.
Satisfied with the intentions that have been set, she sets the bottle in the hole in the ground and leaves the honor to you to shovel the dirt back on top of it.
Which I do.
And she sticks the base of her bouquet into the ground to mark the spot where a year from now the two of you and your friends will gather to share a drink celebrating your 1-year anniversary. You return to the carriage that brings you back into the town as the sun is truly beginning to set. And as you enter the town, the carriage slows. And to your astonishment, you see the entire spiraled road that leads up the hill to the college is lined with townsfolk, all bearing torches, many of them glowing with alchemical, changing colored flames. And a cheer that can be heard all the way up and down the hill as your carriage speeds back up and follows this brightly colored spiral. Huh?
Did we just lose Malcolm?
Nope. We lost Cece. So she'll pop back in a second.
She should, yeah.
And you follow this spiral of light, and as you pass, the townsfolk fall in behind the carriage and follow it up the hill until a light almost as bright as the sun trails behind your carriage, and you go through the gates of the college to the main hall. A dinner is served. And you are treated to performances of various kinds. Comedy skits, musical numbers, acrobatics, all of the highest quality, performed by members of the college. Graduate level performers, fully trained in both performance and magic.
So it just occurred to me, this is a bardic college, right?
Yes.
Bardic college? Okay.
Yep. That is
So none of them are winking at Arget, right? Because I don't want her being seduced by some fucking bard.
They are all being respectful.
Good.
But yes, that is Boheim's, claim to fame. It is one of the best bard colleges on the continent.
There we go.
She come back?
She's back on the Discord, yeah.
Okay, just hasn't put up her video yet.
Not yet.
Alright, so again, you are treated to the highest quality performances as you eat your meal. And then finally it is time for the traditional dances. Tidgrud once again is given the honor of taking Arget's father's place, to which she is very emotional about, of course. But afterwards, the traditional veil dance, you see Arget really gets into the game of the whole thing and uses an adhesive to really secure the veil to her head as she dances around, and the other women in town, any unwed woman, tries to catch a piece of the veil and rip off. The person who collects the largest shred is supposed to be the next to be wed.
That's interesting.
Huh?
That's interesting.
And as the reception becomes a normal party, as they do, and all of the townsfolk and everyone in attendance begins to join in the dancings and celebrating and the drinking, Malcolm, at some point, you may notice on the balcony that overlooks the rest of the town.
There she is.
you see King Vosser standing with a drink in hand, just looking out over the town.
Sorry, I had technical problems. My computer overheated.
Oh, okay. That's not good.
Wonder how we can stop
So
this from
everything
happening.
Oh,
froze.
jeez. So yeah, you notice him standing out there alone, kind of just staring off into space.
I think I'll approach him. I think our relationship is somewhat informal.
By this point, yes.
Yeah. So I think I'll put my hand on his shoulder and to ask if what's on his mind.
He chuckles and he says, "Just enjoying the sunset." And at this point, that comment's a little confusing because it is completely dark.
I'm assuming that you mean something metaphorical.
Yes. Yes, it's, there are those moments, those bright, special moments of celebration when you know that there are likely dark days ahead. In some ways, I feel like victory is just within reach. But part of me knows there will be much struggle and perhaps even loss before we reach that day. So I am trying to savor this moment of happiness. All of us, the people we care about, our friends, all gathered together in celebration, a joyous occasion before the inevitable loss and destruction that we'll have to go through before Orcus is defeated.
There is going to be loss, and it's going to be a hard-fought victory, and there will be death, but holding Alari, I realized that that's what we fight for. We fight for new life and the future of our children and those not even born yet. If we don't make a stand here, that future is not going to be good.
Couldn't have said it better myself, and he pulls out from his side. You realize he's confiscated an entire bottle of dwarven ale. And I don't know if you have a cup in hand at the time. If you don't, he snatches one up and fills it up for you.
Dwarven ale, I'm about to get fucked up.
He's got the good stuff.
That's the shit that got that's the shit that got Echo drunk, right?
Did he just hit the floor?
Congratulations, my friend. And he kind of holds a glass up in salute for those who have yet to be born.
Those have yet to be born.
And you both take a drink together, and for a moment you both reflect on what is to come, what has gotten you to where you are, and where the end of this story will hopefully get you. After a few moments, you notice notice is an understatement. There is a loud bang, crunching of wood as the large doors to the hall are
Motherfucker.
knocked down.
You son of a bitch.
Of course, you both rush back into the main hall just in time to see as a handful of undead humanoids in dark green robes step into the hall, followed by what you assume is what knocked down the door. This large, lumbering hulk.
What the fuck?
This oddly shaped skeletal creature with a skull that is much too small for the rest of the form and long, lanky arms. And the room immediately goes silent. As one of the cultists steps forward, you recognize he bears the symbol that was once branded on Alaric's chest. And this undead humanoid steps forward and shouts out loudly as it reverberates through the hall. Orcus in his grace has left the champions to live their pathetic lives. But they continue to collect the Fira's weapons, and then suddenly there is a loud percussive bang that gives some of you a ringing in the ears that cuts his sentence dead, and you see a large hole appear in his forehead. And as you look back up towards the main table, you see Arget has her dress lifted, and there is a custom-made holster attached to her garter, and she is aiming one of your old flintlocks, Malcolm.
Yeah, that's my girl right there.
Hell yeah, it is! Fuck
Pouring
yes!
off of the barrel, and she pulls it back and she says, "Not on my wedding days, you assholes!" And
Yes!
this sends the entire hall into commotion. I'm going to need you all to not roll initiative, because before you are even able to react, the entire town that is stuffed into this hall goes to work on these guys. Rots these cultists to death with chairs and tables and plates, whatever, forks, whatever they can get their hands on. It is a absolute bloodbath. And pretty soon the bards that are still present in the room use magic to restrain the large undead creature that helped bust their way into the hall, and the townsfolk go to work on him and pretty quickly destroy that as well until he's just a pile of bones.
Oh my god, we just lost her again.
It's okay.
Once all of them have been dealt with, there is a calm and a silence over the hall for a few moments, and one random guy from town, you hear the pop of a cork, and he says, "Well, no reason to stop drinking."
Holy fucking shit! Oh yeah!
Again, music starts playing, the townsfolk start laughing, celebrating. They use the alcohol to douse the bodies of the cultists, and then light them on fire. They then lift them and kind of dance them in a conga line. They drag the flaming bodies of the cultists to the edge of the balcony and toss them over into town. The bones are cleared away and the party goes on.
I did not expect that. I expected you were about to
Yes!
fucking go that's
Oh my god,
we're
fuck
going to end our
yes!
session.
I was so tempted to actually have a combat session at the reception. I'm like, nope, this would be a lot cooler. The townsfolk beat the shit out of the bad guys for you. But this display told you, of course, this isn't the first time this town has had to deal with this BS. So they already knew what to do, burning the bodies and all of that. But a show of support from who will be your future neighbors, Malcolm.
That is fucking awesome.
The town has fully embraced you as future residents, and the party goes on late into the night until you, of course, are brought back to the family farm for you to spend your first night together as husband and wife. And that is where we will end our session.
Fucking hell. Fucking hell. Oh my god.
All right. Well, we thank you for joining us for this very special and hopefully joyous session. And when we return a couple months from now, we will be finishing up our story over the next few months. Thank you, everyone, for watching. You have a good night.
So, Cece, I'm not sure where you dropped out, but the townspeople...